let me just read you part of a federal court case. We've had public schools in America since 1647. We've had prayer schools since 1647. Suddenly the courts have said, no, prayer needs to be done at home or at church, not at a school and not at a graduation. Well, there are still communities that want to pray at graduations. There's still 100% of communities who want. We have a number of examples where an entire community wanted to have prayer. I know of an example in one state where that a man heard that a community was having prayer at school. He moved across the state, established residence in that city so he could sue. He sued, got the prayer stopped, and then moved out of town. I mean, it wasn't bothering him. The whole town wanted it, loved it, but he went in to get it stopped. So we still have a lot of schools that do that, particularly rural schools still want prayer. The parents want prayer, the kids want prayer. And this is a federal court ruling that deals with one of those schools. This federal judge decided that he's going to let this school have prayer, but he's going to tell them how to pray. And so here's the federal court ruling. He says, this court will allow prayer if it's a typical non-denominational prayer. The prayer can refer to God or the Almighty, but the prayer must not refer to Jesus. And make no mistake, this court is going to have a United States Marshal in attendance at graduation. If any student offends this court and mentions Jesus in a prayer, that student will be summarily arrested and will face 6 months incarceration in the Galveston County Jail. Now, we don't give 6 months in jail for burglary or all sorts of other stuff, but if you pray the wrong words when you pray, we're going to give you 6 months. Now, see, that's saying, oh, it's okay to pray Jesus in private, but don't dare think about doing that in public.
What's the federal system doing up in the business of Galveston, Texas, anyway?
Well, this is part of the difficulty we have with the courts telling us what religion means. And this is what they've gotten into in the First Amendment. Rather than simply allowing it to say what it said, the First Amendment doesn't say separation of church and state. It says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Now, you take that First Amendment, and that's why they stopped this, but you say, wait a minute, First Amendment says Congress shall make no law. That's not Congress making a law. That's a kid saying a prayer.
Right.
So how did Congress come to mean a kid, and how did making a law come to mean saying a prayer? Because the courts told us that's what it means. And so what we have, there was a philosophy introduced in the court by Chief Justice Charles Evans Hughes. He said, we are under a constitution, but the constitution is what the court says that it is.
Yikes.
And so that's where we are now. Well, that's not a constitutional violation. Congress made no law. Congress established no religion. By the way, an establishment of religion was defined by the Founding Fathers when they wrote the First Amendment. You can go to the records of Congress, they're online. You can see the entire debate of the 90 Founding Fathers who did the First Amendment. And establishment of religion is very simple. We don't want a national, federal denomination. We don't want the federal government to say you all got to be Baptists or Catholics or Anglicans or anything else. That's all it meant. There was nothing about separating God from government, God from public life, nothing. That's why you had free speech. And on top of that, that's why they gave a double security. They said Congress can't stop it, and by the way, you can exercise your faith wherever you want to. Well, that was the security. If you're allowed to exercise your faith where you want to, then Congress certainly can't stop your faith. So it was a double whammy that they put on the Congress. Now we're in the position of saying, well, now wait a minute, you can exercise your faith privately, but not publicly. But the Founding Fathers were into public acknowledgments of God.